Okay, y'all, the only problem with us splitting this building is that I've only got 1 meter. Need 2 meters. I need another meter set here. I've got 2 feeds running up this line going to the inside, so I need to get somebody to break the pipe, put a box there or junction or whatever, bring one of the feeds out and go into another box over here. So I'm working on that. That's been the big push here the last couple of days, is getting that squared away. So I think I've got somebody coming for that, and we're going to see what we can do with it. But that's what we're trying to do. That's what's on the agenda this week. So we only got one weatherhead up there. Trying to get that figured out. We split it, will be good. If we don't split it, what's going to happen is I'm going to have to go on the other side in there at the fuse panel and put a digital meter, basically to figure out the kilowatts, and then I'll have to figure it all out. So you can tell in here that line runs here, drops down into this fuse panel, goes through this fuse panel, through this cable, through this side, and back up into here, which is fine. It's just the meter out there is running 2 sub panels, is basically what's going on. So you can do that. It's not against any rules or regulations. It's just that once I put this wall here, it's going to be a lot easier if I got a meter for this side and a meter for this side. If not, I'm going to have to come in here, right here somewhere, cut that wire, run it into a meter that I can buy and put here, and then run it back up here. And then I can take the power bill every month and deduct this and tell this person that's what they owe, and this person, you owe what's on that meter. So I should have an electrician out one day this week, and I'll be able to show you what he did out there, and then we'll go from there. Okay, y'all, we got this one power meter here that I showed you in a video before. We got one power basically for 2 buildings. So we had our electrician come in, put this in. So we've got that there. Basically, we run down and come up, go back this way, and we come down and go over and go into this power box. So we've got 2 lines coming down here, going in this junction box, splitting, coming down and going in like so. It's got it nice and clean, looks good. Drilled a hole through the roof there. Got us another weatherhead up there. Got everything done up there. All looks good. Hopefully all this works out. Here's our permit. Damn, it's getting more costly. There's $65 for the permit, but that's how it works. Let's open this up here. Disconnect and all that good stuff. That's good. Okay, that one goes on the outside, and this one goes on the inside. Is what I screwed up with. 2 ground rods, one over there, one over here. 6 foot apart from each other. All that looks good. It all looks good. So hopefully. But that's it. Pretty neat. I like it. Are they just gonna daisy chain it together? Very possible. Very, very possible. Excellent work. Excellent work. Like the way it's done. Like everything about it. Looks good. There is a boot up there. So that's good. Okay guys, we got 2 meters set. Both of them's in there, they're looking good. We got both of those. Comes up, that's how they done it up there. That's pretty good. They got all that done. Comes down 2 meters. I want some blue tag there, about. We got that looking good. Still goes up there and goes to the same deal back there. Damn, that truck drove right through there, it looks like. It's that wheel track. You can see his track marks right there. That's crazy. But anyway, got that. Looks good.
Okay folks, so we got our electrical split finally. So I'll tell you, I'll show you the history of the history. Originally, all of these buildings on Main Street had the power coming in through the front of the building. So if you walk around downtown, you can see all of the places on the front where the power used to come in, because they had telephone poles up on Main Street that provided the power. So I'll show you, for instance, on this big huge building here next to us that I know a little bit about. Originally, the power was hung here on the side of the building on a box and went in there, and then there was like a big tall let me see if I can find, yeah, if you look real close you can see it. Where am I looking at? Right there, see the little hole? That was part of the strapping to hold the shaft up. So there was, and you can see right here there was the service entrance was right here, and on the other side of that wall was all of the electrical, and it had a big old weatherhead up there, and then it looped over to a power line that was out front. I don't know if, yeah. See the blue building over there? That little white spot is where the power meter was over there, I believe. I don't know how it got in, but anyway. So all of these buildings around 2008 or so, they swapped the power back. So it's been 12 long years. And they took the power off the front of the buildings and put it on the back of the buildings. So this particular one had the same thing going on. There was 2 service entrances out front, one for each side, because originally this was built as 2 buildings. This was later added because it runs the street clock. We've talked about that in other videos. All that does is run that street clock. So whenever they swapped the power to the back, they basically they took down all the power lines out front that ran down Main Street, and then they spent a considerable amount of money to move all of the power lines to the back of the buildings. Basically, pretty much completely done for cosmetic reasons, which is cool. I'm glad they did it. So these poles were added in, and all of the power was ran out back. You can see what's going on here. This has been 12 long years. Now remember, most of these buildings down here have not been really in use as like for instance, this big huge building here has just been sitting. Nobody's been using it for anything. I'm talking about this one because we own it and we bought it, and we've begun restoring it. So we put a new roof on it. It took forever. We repaired all of these windows. They were all broke out. Those are the original 100-year-old wooden window frames that we fixed up, painted, put new insulated glass in and all of that, right? But this building, since before 2008, was just sitting. So the service entrance was up here. You've seen we've taken it down and we've blocked up the holes into the building where the old service entrance was. Since the roof was leaking for so long that all that electrical needs to be redone, so we've removed most of the electrical from the building. Now, whenever they moved the power back, they put in this pole and they ran a service drop over to this building that we're working on now. But see the other cable up there? They have a service drop just hanging there because it was intended to go all the way up here to the service mast up there. But the gentleman that owned the building at the time wasn't really in a position to have it hooked up. Now they hooked all this up for free. It was part of the, they didn't charge the tenants to hook this up, but for whatever reason this building here wasn't, I guess since it was leaking water and stuff, it wasn't in a position where it could be hooked up. So now what's going to happen is, as you can see over there, you see this pipe sticking out of the building. That is the new service entrance that's been added, but we haven't placed the box on the outside and haven't had it hooked up yet. We're going to have to pay for all that, where we could have had it done for free before. So what they did when they did this building was, it was originally 2 buildings, but the gentleman that was in it at the time was using it as 1 building, and he had cut that hole inside that you've probably seen in some of the other videos to make a walkthrough so that it's all just 1 big building. So whenever they hooked it up, they only hooked up 1 service. So they added in this box. It was a little different before this gentleman worked on it. They added in this box and it ran up to a conduit and went inside and powered both of the switch boxes inside as sub panels. This has outside has breakers, you know, so it's basically your main and the insides are the subs. But for us, that's a big problem, because if we're going to split it back into 2 buildings, we need to have 2 meters for billing purposes, you know, and so that the 2 different customers don't hate each other. 2 different tenants. So you might say, well, why don't you just leave it 1 building? Well, it's a small town. If we're renting the whole building to 1 person, we'd have to rent it for more money, which makes it less likely that we can rent it. So it's a lot easier to rent 2 smaller buildings than 1 big building. And since this originally was 2 smaller buildings, it's kind of a no-brainer to turn it back into 2 separate rentals. So we needed a separate meter. So we had an electrician come in and install this one, get the permits and all that crap, and get it all done. And when they came in, they hooked us both up. Now originally the guy just swapped the service from here to here, and he called and said, hey, I got your new meter swapped out. And we were like, wait a minute, you said swapped. You said you got our new meter swapped. We don't need a swap, we need them both hooked up. And he's like, oh, okay, let me see what I can do. I think I can fix it. So if you look real close, I can't really point at it, but right through here, huh? See the little extensions? So he cut the line and extended it back over, and I got them both hooked up. Now, I am not one to judge the quality of that work. I don't know anything about it. We called the people, had them take care of it. Everything looks better than it did before, so I'm cool with it. So now both of them have a separate box running the separate sub panels inside. So we're completely separated. Now it looks like my brother Donnie has been out here marking which one is 143 and which one is 145. That's the addresses. So that's pretty funny. That's official my brother Donnie handwriting there. I can tell. I've seen that before. So yeah, so there we go. So we got the power split. That's good. Now we've got this one thing I'd like to have done in the future. Whenever they hooked up the air, they came out of this original box, went down and went over to here, but this door is meant to be like where you can back a truck up to it for loading purposes, right? And the conduit's right in the way. So what I'd like to do is come out of here, go up over the door, and then back down to run the air conditioning. So that's a whole other thing, though. We have to get two AC units out here. We've got this one, which is, I think it's a 5-ton unit. It's plenty big enough to run one side, and then we're going to add one for the other side. So we're trying to finish this whole side off first, so that we can rent it. But we'll see how all that goes. What do you think? So that's our electrical work that they did. Donnie showed you the intro. The only last thing I want to show you is I'm going to show you out front where the original service entrance was, just so you can see how they handled that back in the day. So here's one of the old service panels for this side, and then the old service panel for this side. They're running the power in through the conduit down into this panel, and then one of them runs through the panel, through the wall, and feeds this panel. And that's how the power company ran it back in the day. So if you've got any complaints about that, people, you're going to have to take it up with Duke Power. The original service entrances were right here on the front of the building. So it's left all these ugly kind of scars. We'll see what we can do about making that look a little better. It looks real bad when you're up close like this, but when you're back a little bit, you don't notice it as much. You might remember there was like a Coca-Cola sign hanging here. It was to hide all the ugliness from when the power was hooked up. So this is the meter that they replaced when they cut the power off the front for this building. Now, this building has been in use the entire time. So to the best of my knowledge, they were still using this as of about 2008, 2009 when they swapped them. Can you believe that? Look at this crap. Holy hell. Look on the other side just to make sure I'm not tripping. I might be tripping. You think I'm tripping? If that's the only service entrance on the front of this. That's it. So that's the power that they were using up until 2008, 2009. All right, folks, so there you go. They've got our power straightened out, and we're happy about it. So we'll see you on the next video. Make sure you like and subscribe. Leave comments below. Try to keep them positive, people. We don't like negative comments. We'll see you on the next one.